Welcome to Storytime English, where we enjoy stories and practice English at the same time. Today, the Titanic, a real story of luxury, tragedy, and mystery. In the early 1900s, people were excited about new technology. One of the most famous creations was a ship called the Titanic. It was the biggest and most luxurious ship of its time. Built in Belfast, Ireland, the Titanic was made to carry over 2,000 passengers. Many believed it was unsinkable. The Titanic was a massive ship, about 269 meters long and 28 meters wide. From the bottom to the top deck, it stood around 53 meters tall. It weighed more than 46,000 tons. Inside the ship were 16 special compartments that could fill with water if needed. Even if 4 of them flooded, the ship was supposed to stay afloat. That's why many people believed the Titanic was unsinkable. But the ship wasn't just big, it was also incredibly fancy. Inside, it had grand staircases, beautiful wooden walls, soft carpets, and shining crystal chandeliers. First-class passengers lived in luxury, with access to a gym, a swimming pool, Turkish baths, and fine restaurants. It felt more like a floating palace than a regular ship. On the morning of April 10th, 1912, the Titanic began its first and only journey. It left the port city of Southampton, located on the southern coast of England, where thousands gathered to see off what was called the most luxurious ship ever built. Its final destination was New York City, a place full of promise and new beginnings, especially for those chasing the dream of a better life in America. Before heading into the deep Atlantic Ocean, the Titanic made 2 short stops to pick up more passengers. The first was at Cherbourg, a port town in northern France, known for its busy harbor. There, small boats ferried passengers out to the Titanic, since the ship was too large to dock. The second stop was in Queenstown, on the southern coast of Ireland, today called Cobh, where the last group of passengers boarded. Many of them were Irish emigrants leaving home forever, in hopes of finding new opportunities in the United States. On board were more than 2,200 people from all walks of life. Some were wealthy and well-known, enjoying the luxury of first-class cabins, grand dining rooms, and top-class service. Others were families and individuals with modest means, packed into third-class sections, carrying hopes and dreams for a fresh start across the ocean. Together, they represented a wide mix of backgrounds, nationalities, and stories. On the night of April 14th, 1912, just 4 days after setting sail, the Titanic was moving at high speed through the icy waters of the North Atlantic Ocean. The night was cold, and the sea was eerily calm, a stillness that made spotting danger even harder. At exactly 11:40 p.m., a lookout named Frederick Fleet, who was watching from the ship's crow's nest, saw something terrifying. A large, dark iceberg straight ahead in the ship's path. He rang the warning bell and called down to the bridge. The crew reacted quickly, trying to turn the massive ship in time and avoid a crash, but it was too late. The iceberg scraped along the starboard side, that's the right side of the ship, cutting into the hull below the waterline. The damage was devastating. It tore open several of the ship's watertight compartments, allowing cold ocean water to rush in fast. Though the Titanic had been designed to stay afloat if up to 4 compartments flooded, this accident affected more than that. The ship that many had believed to be unsinkable was now in serious trouble. As the Titanic was sinking into the freezing waters of the Atlantic, desperate messages were sent out using Morse code. The crew sent distress signals, hoping that another ship might be close enough to help. One of those signals was picked up by a ship called the RMS Carpathia, which was sailing about 58 miles, 93 kilometers away. The Carpathia's captain, Arthur Rostron, reacted immediately. Even though it meant putting his own ship at risk, he ordered full speed ahead through the dangerous icy waters of the night. After several tense hours, the Carpathia finally arrived at the scene in the early morning of April 15th, 1912. By then, the Titanic had already disappeared beneath the waves. But floating in lifeboats, surrounded by cold and darkness, were more than 700 survivors, shivering and in shock. The crew of the Carpathia worked quickly to pull them aboard, offering blankets, food, and medical care. Sadly, over 1,500 people had not survived, making it one of the deadliest peacetime maritime disasters in history. The world was stunned. News of the Titanic's sinking spread quickly across the globe, and people everywhere were shocked that such a modern and unsinkable ship could meet such a terrible end. In response, new laws were introduced to improve safety at sea, including requiring enough lifeboats for all passengers, regular lifeboat drills, and 24-hour radio communication on ships. For decades after the disaster, the final resting place of the Titanic remained a mystery. People knew roughly where it had gone down, but the ocean is vast and deep, and no one could find it. That changed in 1985, when a team of scientists, led by Dr. Robert Ballard, finally discovered the wreck of the Titanic. It was lying about 3,800 meters, 12,500 feet, below the surface of the North Atlantic Ocean, deeper than anyone had imagined. The ship had broken into 2 large pieces, and around it lay scattered debris, silent and untouched for more than 70 years. Finding the Titanic was a powerful moment. It allowed researchers and the public to better understand what had happened that night. The images of the ship's broken hull and rusted railings became a symbol of both human ambition and human tragedy. And even today, the Titanic continues to fascinate people around the world, reminding us of how fragile life can be, even aboard the greatest ship ever built. Did you know? When the Titanic set sail in 1912, there were at least 12 dogs on board, most of them traveling with their owners in first class. They were mostly small breeds like Pomeranians and Pekingese. The most incredible part is that 3 dogs survived the sinking. Their owners quietly brought them into lifeboats as they were small enough to be hidden in blankets or coats. Thanks for joining us on this journey. Want to discover more mysteries of the world while improving your English? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell.